Hello everyone, I'm Karis. Promises, promises. Have you ever made a pinky promise? A pinky promise is a traditional gesture most commonly practiced amongst children and big kids like me. It involves the locking of the two pinky fingers between the two people, signified that a promise has been made. It's a symbolic gesture that is used to show that you are making a sincere promise and intend on keeping it. It's usually done between friends and family as a way to show you really are committed to keeping that promise and you will do your best to fulfill it. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello everyone, I'm Karis. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, November 24th through Saturday, November 30th, 2024. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. The magical night sky this week has the moon reaching its apogee. That is the moon's farthest distance from the Earth in its elliptical orbit. And the moon on the mornings of November 26th and 27th, it will be the waning crescent moon hanging above the eastern horizon near Spica, the brightest star in the constellation of Virgo. The maiden Spica is very often referred to as the sweetest star in the heaven. The unlit portion of the waning crescent moon now will have the earth shine, which is the reflected light from the earth. Look for them about an hour before sunrise. On the mornings of November 28th and 29th, we have the moon with Spica, but also the moon will be near the bright star Zuben El Genubi. I probably did not pronounce that correctly. That's a mouthful. Through the second half of November, our queen of heaven, the jewel in the night sky, Venus, our sister planet, continues ascending slowly in the evening twilight and will pass the teapot star cluster and the asterism in Sagittarius. Venus will remain a brilliant evening star through the end of the year and will reach its greatest distance from the sunset in January 2025. Saturn is also well above the eastern horizon after sunset and will set around midnight, your local time. Saturn and the bright star Formulo, which is one of the royal watcher stars, are the only two bright objects in a certain area of the sky. Formulo is referred to as the loneliest star. The 7 original planets used in astrology, or the OGs as I call them, that you can see without aid of telescope or binoculars, just like the first original astrologers did. They are lined up this week as such. The sun is in mutable fire Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. We start off the week with the moon in Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius. Venus is now in cardinal Earth Capricorn. Mars is very strong in the sign of Leo. Jupiter is still retrograde in the sign of Gemini, its detriment, and Saturn is direct now in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Sunday, November 24th, we start off the week with the moon in mutable Earth Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Now, Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury has been in its storm shadow period, which means Mercury has slowed down. And then this week, we have Mercury stationing retrograde. So as we start off the week with the moon in Virgo, the sign of Virgo corresponds to the stage in life where we are learning self-reliance. Now, Virgo is also practice, practice, practice. In other words, when we are at the stage of life where we're not a teenager anymore, we're typically not married yet, Virgo, which is the sign of practicality, meaning what we practice, what we do. It's not a concept up in our head. It's not imagination. It's not a dream. Virgo is what we actually physically practice and do on a daily basis. And so Virgo, that stage of development where we typically get the first kid job at a Starbucks or a Target, or back in the day it was shoveling snow and delivering newspapers. We get that first introduction into what we will start to practice and do. This is Virgo, as a way of developing not only self-reliance, but what are the habits that we will set into place. For instance, when it's the first job and you have to practice being on time, practice doing the job, practice getting a paycheck and how you handle your money. Virgo being an earth sign, work and money. When we practice punching in and out of a clock, for instance, when we practice having a boss type that is going to give instructions and we take the instructions, and just all the little things, all the little habits that Virgo, the sign of the zodiac, rules over. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is the thoughts, thinking, what we say, how we say it. It's also the practice of how we communicate. Virgo ruled by Mercury. So as we start off this week with the moon in Virgo, Mercury getting ready in its detriment, Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, to station retrograde. Why I opened up the podcast today with pinky promise and making promises is because the moon is what we need. And when it's in Virgo, it very much ties into health, taking away what is fake, what is false. This is what Virgo does. Virgo purifies. And so the most important promises are the promises you make with yourself. So let's say, for instance, you promised yourself that you would stop eating sugar. How you keep that promise, or how you practice that habit with yourself, is of utmost importance. I stopped eating sugar about 2 years ago. The obvious, cupcakes and cake and ice cream, that kind of thing. All I did was stop eating sugar, and I kept that promise to myself. Over the past 2 years, it's like magic. I've dropped 30 pounds, and I feel like, but I've done nothing. I just kept that promise to myself. And it's a lifestyle habit as far as the promise you keep to yourself. The promise to perhaps stop drinking, stop doing drugs. The promise perhaps that you're going to walk every day, eat healthier food. Virgo ties into the digestive tract, or what we now call gut health. It could be the promise you make to yourself about what you will say or won't say. It's very common in every day these days to swear on TV, the movies, all over the place. Like you'll watch a TV show, and at the beginning of the show, it will say, "Warning, you may see smoking in this television show," for instance. Back in the day, it would be a warning, this isn't PG rated, and you will see and hear language as a warning for children. Whatever pinky promise, whatever promise you have made to yourself and others, with your daily habits, with what you practice on a daily basis, with the power of the word, Virgo being ruled by Mercury. It is in its detriment now, Mercury, about to station retrograde. So a retrograde can be a return, to look back over something, second, third, fourth time and beyond, and to do some research and reflect. We are in the waning moon cycle now, to reflect on what are the promises that you make to others, what are the promises that you make to yourself, how do those promises, whether you keep them or not, how do they affect your health and well-being, especially in the stomach, digestive tract area, which is what Virgo rules over. And the moon, and I say this all the time, the moon is what we need. It's what we're hungry for. I always say feed your moon. and what the moon, starting off the week in the sign of Virgo, is hungry for, what the moon, what we emotionally need, is to make a promise and keep that promise. Again, it could be something that seems so small and itsy bitsy. Virgo rules over all the small details that just mean so much. God is in the details. But some little promise that perhaps you make to yourself during this waning moon to new moon cycle that we're in. Try it out if you haven't. Make what seems to be a small promise to yourself and see how you keep it. Also, Virgo is about our lifestyle habits, not only developing self-reliance in what we practice, but what are the lifestyle habits that perhaps you will reflect on this week and make a pinky promise to yourself. If you do this, this will enhance greater health, healing, and well-being. I love the aspect today of the moon in Virgo making an earth trine flow to Uranus and Taurus, ruled by Venus. The moon trine Uranus with Venus tied into this earth trine flow. It can be a moment where you really realize that you're going to keep the promise to do and follow and practice, this is Virgo, what it is that you love, the Uranus and Taurus, no matter how different, unique, unusual it may be. Moon trine Uranus in Taurus. Monday, November 25th, we now do have Mercury stationing in the sign of Sagittarius before it goes fully retrograde. Now, when Mercury stations, it just stops and takes a pause before it is fully retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the future. It's Jupiter ruled, how you want to move forward in the future, how you want to increase. This is the job of Jupiter, to grow things, to increase things. And on Monday the 25th, we have the moon now in the sign of cardinal air Libra. The aspects today, the vibe, are so romantic because with the moon in Libra making an air trine flow to Pluto now fully in Aquarius, and the moon in Libra making a sextile aspect of opportunity to the sun in Sagittarius and a sextile aspect to Mars in Leo, this blending of very positive air and fire with the moon in Libra and the Mars in Leo, these aspects are so romantic as we start off the week with Mercury just standing still for a moment, taking a pause. So one of the promises you may make to yourself this week is that you're going to have and find the love relationship that you truly want and desire. Asking about love is the number one thing that clients ask me about as an astrologer, because what is life without connection, without love, without moon in Libra, people in our life? We are wired to be together and to love one another. So if you feel like, well, I've been disappointed in love, I have given up on love, it's just not for me, it might be for other people, but not for me, this week of what's called the dark side, reflective side of the moon, as we are approaching the new moon, this can be that inner reflective time where you feel it through, think it through, and make the decision that of course love is for you, and that you will have and find and enjoy, celebrate the love that you want. Tuesday, November 26th, we still have the moon in Libra, and the moon in Libra makes a square to its ruler, Venus in Capricorn. Now, the moon and Venus squaring off with each other. A square is an aspect of taking action. And Libra and Capricorn are both cardinal signs of the zodiac, meaning they usher in, they lead us into a new time, a new chapter of our life. Now, this moon square Venus in cardinal signs of the zodiac can feel agitating, where the moon and Venus are trying to figure out, well, what exactly is the great relationship that you want? How do you define a great relationship? Also, the moon square Venus in cardinal signs of the zodiac is taking the time and trouble to activate in your heart and in your law of attraction, Venus, law of attraction, the relationship, the marriage that you have with yourself. One of the questions you might ask with the moon square Venus is, am I ready to have a great relationship? And how would I define that new chapter, Libra Capricorn? How would I define that new chapter of my life? So you could think of it during this balsamic side of the moon phase of putting down a new foundation where you're saying to yourself, well, how do I define a great relationship? Do I believe, law of attraction, that you can have a fabulous relationship, that you feel good about it? Venus, the comfort and happiness in your body, law of attraction, that you are going to take the necessary steps to meet the cosmos halfway. When we set the energetic intention and feel great about it and say to the cosmos, the universe, yep, I'm going to work with you here. I'm going to trust you, universe, that the great relationship is out there waiting to meet you. It's like we're helping along the energy of the universe and the cosmos by believing and feeling great that the right relationship is there for you. We're just moving it along a little bit, especially with two cardinal signs of the zodiac, Libra and Capricorn, squaring off with each other. Wednesday, November 27th, we have the moon falling into fixed water Scorpio. Now, the moon in its fall in Scorpio is the emotional imprints that perhaps you've been carrying that were never yours to carry, the emotional baggage. The moon is the mom. The moon is also the baby. And whatever emotional baggage, depression, anger, disbelief, whatever the emotional baggage is that wasn't yours to begin with, but it's like a subconscious imprint and you've been carrying it. Well, with the moon in Scorpio making a square aspect to Pluto in Aquarius, this is the square, the taking of the action, where the moon and Pluto, now fully in Aquarius, is no turning back, is that action of freeing yourself, the potential transformation, Pluto, life, death, and rebirth, of finally letting go of, let die, Scorpio, so you can come back to life again. That's the moon square Pluto. This isn't always easy work, but we could say it's necessary work in life and in having the love that you want and seek. Thursday, November 28th, happy Thanksgiving. So many blessings to count. Just so many things to be grateful for. Enjoy the holiday. Just to be alive is a blessing enough. And Thanksgiving is just saying thank you, which is what Jupiter rules over in astrology. Gratitude for everything. Just what a blessing. So much to be grateful. You can't even begin to count the ways. Friday, November 29th, day after Thanksgiving, we do still have the moon in Scorpio. And the moon in Scorpio makes a water trine flow to Neptune in Pisces. This is a lot of emotion, which is creativity. A lot of water. Take it easy after the celebration. It is a lot. Moon in Scorpio makes a sextile aspect to Venus in Capricorn and also in opposition to Uranus in Taurus. So that balance of earth and water, the feminine, inner, reflective elements that we have, that's the going within, and we are in the dark balsamic side of the moon now, right before the new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius, where it's just, think of the moon as stopping at a rest stop. The rest stop is the sun. So the moon and the sun lining up so that the moon can fill up with new energy and power for the new lunation at the time of the new moon is what's happening here. Saturday, November 30th, we do have the new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius. Now 9 degrees Sagittarius is the fixed star Antares, one of the royal watchers. Antares is the watcher of the West. And Antares is very often called the rival of Mars. It's 700 times larger than the Sun. It is the color red. And Antares, in the sign of Sagittarius, is more than making a promise. Antares, Sagittarius, is taking a solemn vow. Sagittarius rules over faith, what you believe in, your religion, again, lifestyle, practice. Moon in Virgo, we could say that our daily habits, our daily practice is like a religion because we live by it. So the new moon in Sagittarius, 9 degrees, aligned with that fixed star, is now taking the vow as we start off on the new moon journey as far as the kind of life, honest life, Sagittarius, truthful life that you are now taking a vow to live. Know where this new moon in Sagittarius takes place in your chart, 9 degrees Sagittarius. You've got to know the accurate birth date, time, and place. But think of this new moon in Sagittarius as a new way, a greater way of living, being, practicing what you live in honesty, in truth, in the sign of Sagittarius, which is always reaching for the stars and going beyond the boundaries of the limitations, doing more, being more than perhaps you ever believed before. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. Have a fabulous week. Happy, safe Thanksgiving. And when it comes to astrology, pinky promise, always. Astrology, the cosmos, the stars, they will never let you down. You can count on that. Thank you. Have a fabulous week. I will see you all in the stars.